Chapter 3. Asphyxiation. Wraith woke to light. Beside her pillow, a headdress of brown and grey quail feathers, dyed with a father's blood, like the ones worn on the Festival of the Four Winds by the spear maids of Malvas Nor. Not what they'd be wearing at the dance, but she saw her father's apology within his craft nonetheless. As she took Evren out for his morning defecation, Sangar shined. Last night's footprints crisscrossed the snow along the rope webbing the edge of the clearing back to the archway of trees. That walk had only been near 100 paces. She'd struggled to close that distance just last night. And now she could see the bone chimes that had guided her way by sound alone stark and clear against the woods. The red tops of trees scratched against. Was that the sky frozen over? Where Uyu blazed amid hues of crisp blue. From Uyu's light she recoiled, nearly dropping her brother. Uyu's splendid radiance stung like a wasp, totally outshining her sister Iyu's pallid grey body. Wraith clutched her eyes, hiding in darkness. "Sista," Evron said, quavering with awe. "The breath." Sangar hadn't even a gasp or a sigh. Nothing. She saw as far as the mountains cradling their valley, taller than the trees. They stretched towards the frozen sky like bald grey titans crowned with jagged lances of moss rock. The wash of all Sangar, dizzying to behold, her wild colors sent Wraith scurrying back inside, Evren in her arms. "Sista!" he called. "What's going on? Did you see?" "I saw," she said. I saw the bright sky, pale Iyu and burning Uyu, there and clear. Stay here." "Stay?" Evren tried to stand as he was pushed down into his bedding. "I gotta piss Sista. If you can stand and gawk at stars, you can squat and shit in snow. Stay here. I'll bring you some lunch." She gathered her gear, then set out along her tracks from the previous night. Despite the breathlessness of Sangar, she still would not blaze a new path and risk getting lost. Men chanting came to her upon the wind, then the sight of naked Twind caught her before the scent did. In her mind, Twind had wintered in a flat meadow, but now she discerned subtle differences in elevations that made it feel sparse and open, like her belly when exposed. More people than she'd ever seen all gathered near the sacred ruin of the Old Ones at the center of the village. 3 men stood atop the holy foundation, arms outstretched, eyes cast to a sky cut twice by the twin tail of Iyu's whale as she raced towards the mountains beneath Iyu's pearl body. Without the breath to keep it in mystery, the ruin was little more than a spread of snow-covered bricks divvied up by a few shallow walls. Carvings of deer, foxes, rabbits, and tall women with dagger-like ears like Scylla were painted purple by algae blooms. There were other strange likenesses she found unfamiliar, lizards the size of mountains, or insects with 6 twiggy limbs capped with scythes. But these odd beasts clearly hunted one another, while the animals and Old Ones frolicked and danced in their great shadows. During the summer, such sacred places were stepping stones along the seasonal migration up and down Tyrnus. In the winter, when the village grew sedentary and vulnerable, they were safe havens, warded against neshers by ancient curses, while being mostly free of evil spirits. In the time it took for her to get close, the deep utterance had stopped, and almost 20 more people had gathered to hear what was being said and sung. They gathered among those they trusted most. The 3 chanters were the chiefs of Twind, Futhinkir, and Quatin. Belonging to none of these peoples, she stood far apart. Young women, ornamented with white-dyed feathers, wolf pelts and paints, were scattered throughout the clans, the ceremony of their ceremonies deferred by the clear day. "We should not worry, my people. We should wait until Sangar speaks," the eldest of the 3 chiefs said. The chief of Twind, the fish of the wind, had brought prosperity to these people through trade and generosity for almost 2 generations. Speaker Scylla communes with her now. Lest we wait with dread, we should celebrate with festival, for Sangar has never favored those who forget to honor her. "The festival?" said the young chieftain of Futhinkir, whose people had migrated down from the north to winter with the fish folk. He'd taken the title of the Tooth of the Pine and had been given the honor of teaching Twish's men how to fight and protect themselves by the windfish himself. Uyu shined upon his bald head slathered with still wet crimson paint. He went on, "And spit in the mother's face? Forget what you see and listen. For no shepherds sing, they're gone and scared. Sangar suffocates and you wish to dance?" He waved a moss-tipped spear as he spoke. Jor had made it on the Tooth's behalf. There were few this far north who could fashion the holy stone with such skill. "I agree with the wind," a third man said. "As young as the chieftain of Futhinkir, and twice as round." The goose of the mountain was regarded by all as the Quatani chief. The old village had latched onto Twind some time before Reyth's family came north, and had only grown larger since. "If we forsake the rites now, then we'll offend Sangar. We must go on with the ceremony." The Tooth of the Pine gave a broad gesture. "Do your eyes deceive? We should act, not make love." All Twin must be here, scared and seeking guidance. But where was her father? How could one hope to hunt without the breath's concealment? Even the Malva's travelers, including old Quet Kanth, had come for answers. Arik stood among the Tooth's finest fighters. Kamut and Arik's daughter Mira joined them as well. Her cousin Mira wore fine red wool sheared of the dangerous woolly beak, and had become plump and prosperous as her uncle rose in prominence, and most wonderfully, she'd grown pregnant with her first child. Evren was sure it'd be a boy, and had already started calling her Belly brother. Reyth joined her maternal family as a caretaker of Scylla's, stepped onto the ruin, and spoke hushed words into the fish's ear. The fish grew serious, his wrinkles deepened with concern. "The shepherds have come to the Spica," the windfish said. "The omens are ill. She has seen their red." The crowd erupted into worry. All knew what this meant. The shepherds were said to be the source of the breath, or at least its tenders. If they had gone quiet and given their warnings, then a great sacrifice would have to be made. Some yelled, some comforted confused children, while others fell to their knees and wept. "My people, please!" the fish pleaded. The Tooth stepped forward, spear glinting towards the sky. "Children of Sangar, we do not need fear if we act." "Act? We cannot fight what is gone," one of the fishermen's wives shouted. "Let's seek the speaker," said the fish. "Her wisdom is that of the ancients." "Could not the Spica have foreseen this? Ya holy women will say sacrifice." Called a Malvas man, a caravan guard with moss rock beads dangling from up and down his massive arms. "The dog fucker speaks shit. Perhaps you'll volunteer." One of the men just beside Reyth shouted. Arik put a hand upon his shoulder to calm him. The Malvas' skepticism only further agitated the people, and soon the words of the chiefs were just those of men among a rancorous crowd. From around Reyth, Arik and the Tooth's warriors pushed their way forward and to the base of the ruin. Her uncle and the sister of his own fishwife, Boda, pulled themselves onto the forum. Boda was hardly older than she, and had a face like a cat and a long pink scalping scar from her forehead to the back of her neck. She'd killed for Arik and would likely do so again. "What's the meaning of this, Arik? Yelts are unwelcome upon this rock," the fish said. He may have been old, but he commanded respect. Arik did not address his challenge, but turned to face the families. His tight jaw and cool gaze were not like Reyth had known them. They lacked his normal restlessness, as like glass they etched silence upon the crowd. What was he playing at? Reyth could practically hear her father's bitter tone as her uncle embarked another one of his kumquat's errands. "Listen, and hear me speak. I shall reason as to why we're being punished." "You?" the goose laughed. "What makes you fit?" "You all know my sister was the Spica of Yelt for a time. Scylla will keep more secrets. I will tell you truths." The three wise men exchanged uneasy glances, but they didn't object. They knew as well as Reyth just how influential her uncle had become among the three peoples. Auric began to speak, as Boda put herself between him and the goose. Look, look with newfound clarity among us, and see those you call neighbors. The people did as they were told, glancing with unease upon their neighbors. Reyth smiled at the young Kiri warrior beside her when their eyes met. These are your brothers and sisters, Futh and Quat and Twish. Sangar's leaves rustle in me dreams when I sleep. She says to all who listen that outsiders come, and that is why she gasps. For who be the outsiders there today? Who've we let walk among us who've debts of blood owed to us all? We trade because it makes us fat, when we should be lean in these times and not tolerate murderous men. Her uncle shook in fury. I've lived amongst you for 8 freezes, all cold and hard. Now it is easy and we're so quick to forget. Who here has not lost sons to the Kunkind? He snatched the spear from the unsuspecting tooth. I see families absent kids, the eyes of mothers who've seen their daughters fed to Kun, and you wonder what it is we're told. Her uncle javelined the moss spear over the crowd and towards Quet's caravan. The heads and hearts of Twish turned to where it landed, its sharp head sinking deep into the earth. Reyth's stomach fell. How could he dare? Quet stood afraid, and flanked by grinning Malvasi berserkers. Reyth shouted to calm the crowd, but could not hear herself over voices that rang, each more accusatory than the last. Malvas! Dogfuckers! Look how they scheme! They killed me son! They took me Tam! And me sister! Bloodthirsters! Thornmen! Dreadriders! Killers! 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 The fear-stoked chaos, and the 3 leaders lost their hold upon the people. Fucking kill 'em! Auric snarled, and give their hearts to Turnus! Rocks flew as hatchets left their leather. Auric! She shouted and spit. She was as much Malvas as they. Did they not see that? If they offended Sangar, so did she. Her uncle's dreams, if they weren't lies, must be cackle-light. Sangar saw neither blood nor clan. All were her children welcomed and well-wished. The 7 Malvas brandished spears into a phalanx, the younger men sheltering their elders, each a wasp among bees. She ran towards them before arrows could fly. Instead, curses lashed forwards as stones stilled. Reyth! Reyth, step back! Auric shouted. Nah, damn ya, stop! She threw out her arms as she faced Auric standing over the mob, restlessness again in his eyes. He must not have expected Jor to have let her attend the festival. Idiot. The crowd's attention turned upon her. That lil' Rey? Get out the way! I know her, Pap. She's Malvas too, nah? A stone cracked against her skull. She yelped. Splitting pain dropped her to a knee. Warmth ran between her clutched fingers. Wait! Auric's command hit the crowd. Please! She swallowed her spit, her vision blurring back. This time when she stood up, bloodied, their grit and anger faded. With stone still in hand, they began to look guilty. This is not right. They stole her breath, Auric said as he spoke for the crowd. Rey, go home. Sangar demands her dues. You did not dream, you do not know. You sniffin' piss, uncle, if you pickin' fights while your mother gasps, while your family gasps. She gestured back with a blood-smeared hand. What of Ev? You think Speaker Scylla gonna help a Malvas if you spillin' their blood to stain Turnus? They wear the moss, Boda said. Now it was her turn to speak as Reyth's words gave Auric pause. They are the Gnesher people. So's me Pap. Heels into the snow, she clapped her chest, and with her back to the Malvas, poised herself at their spears' tips. If he's Nesher people, then why have Neshers drawn his blood with wooden fangs? Me Pap has shepherded many of ye children into this world by his very hand. He's Malvas, but he's a man too. Will ye stone him? Or me? Without even hearing what Scylla thinks? The crowd's boils simmered and stones fell from hands. If ye dreams are true and naw lies, uncle, maybe you should seek some real outsiders. The fish's gentle touch brought Auric's chin to chest as he raised his hands, relinquishing the hold upon the families he'd seized. Fine, but they may naw leave until we say, if the speaker does seek blood, then Rey, ye best go care for Ev. As the tension ebbed and the families turned inwards for insight, The sharp pain beside her eye became a dull ache. Quet came to the front of the formation. Like hers, his hands were bloody, as he'd tended a man who'd been downed by a sling. "Ya okay?" Her voice cracked against her projected confidence. "Yes, Vakda, peacemaker, I am in your debt." The huge Malvis man with beads upon his arms interrupted them. "Pap, we should go." "Y's right," Quet said, chewing his gums together. "But first—" From their stores he offered a large sack that jingled when Reyth took it. By its weight it must be moss rock, enough to last a year. "For your troubles, Reyth'Vakda." After the Malvis had left, she found her uncle standing apart from his followers, head tilted towards the brilliant sky. When he wouldn't look at her, she pinched his bare jaw, smearing it with red, and forced his gaze. "Ya stupid as a knot-rock, uncle?" She'd hit him, if she'd not felt just a bit proud of the peace she'd made. Somber, he took his jaw away and regarded her wound. "My dreams are not lies, Rey. Scylla and your mother both have shared with me the trick to sight. Dark ones, I've seen them, emblazoned with green wound our mother. And do you forget? You think your pap forgets there why your tam gave her life to the Agla?" "Do naw speak of mother," Reyth sneered. "She went of her own." "Maybe she was your tam, but she was my sister too. Your father rejects them, no? He wears no moss, eats no flesh. He's Twish now. He crossed the river for good, but he'll never forgive me for this either. Keep this between us?" Her scoff chafed him, and he pulled her in to speak soft. "Keep quiet, and I'll take you to Scylla, without a word, for Ev, eh? Sangar demands her dues, stupid uncle." She pulled away. "You take me to Scylla anyway. You said so already." "Stubborn as Jor," Arik said. "But first let's get you clean. The speaker can taste your naked blood."